Hey guys, I'm back again, real soon if I had to be honest. Like I said in the last one, if any of the four of you that check this out, I'm gonna rant about stuff. It's gonna be random each one, but they all have tying together with my life to begin with. This one, I'm gonna talk about, if you didn't see the title, reboots. I'm not talking about just any sort of reboots, I'm talking about them in general. Like, say, reboots of movies and TV shows and game series, like I said, but that will change. The thing is about reboots is they're made to please the fans of the original. You know, those who loved watching the original shows or rewatched the original movies. And like, I missed that show. Why can't they bring it back? That's the whole idea they had behind it, along with the merchandise and money they made from all that to begin with. Like, say, all the money they made for cartoons, like with merchandise, like action figures, t shirts, toys, or movies, like spokesman deals, references, and other shows, which still gets money, which honestly confused me at time to time. And video game series, though, those ones have a better chance of getting reboots since it's more likable. And when the gameplay changes or keeps it the same, people accept it more rather than just TV shows and movies. Since, like, a lot of people are more stingy with that part. Like with movies, like, say, if you saw this one movie back in the 80s or 60s, and, like, I love this movie. Then we see it get rebooted, like, why'd they reboot this? This was awesome, don't make it crap. Because it's totally different from how you remember it. You're like critiquing the whole thing. And then there's the actors that are changing, like with the new, like with that Jumanji movie that came out a few years ago, you know, the Into the Jungle, where it was a pretty big thing and very ambitious to do in the first place, since the star actor of the original one was Robin Williams, and may he rest in peace, was huge. And seeing even if these new guys are popular, like Jack Black, Kevin Hart, The Rock, you'd see them in other stuff that may get reboots or other things, just not in Jumanji. And the way they act can be a little on and off to some people, but even then, people had mixed feelings about it. Man, I thought it was good. Reboots tend to have a mixed audience depending on what exactly is going on. Like if they just go with the same thing, if it's just redoing the original, or if they do the coward thing and just say it's a sequel or prequel to the original. And that happens more often than you'd like. Like, way more. Like, seriously, how many movies, new movies that are based off old ones, tried to be a sequel to the original or prequel saying, hey, we did it first. We are better. It gets annoying from time to time. Sorry, just adjusting the camera because this is from my iPad. Then there's the whole thing with TV shows. It's just it has a bad reputation when it gets reboots. Like say cartoons and stuff, they are bad. Like the Powerpuff Girls, they suck. And believe me when I say I was most pissed when I saw that Ben 10 was getting rebooted. It was one of my favorite shows growing up, seeing all the action, the drama, the overarching story. And then just throw it all away for a kid's show. I was mad, I was annoyed, and I was heartbroken to see that one of my favorite shows got the reboot curse. It gets so annoying, like so annoying at times. There are some good ones. I'm not saying all reboots are bad, it's just there could be a fine limit to where they stand. Like, there doesn't seem to be a limit for how much stuff gets rebooted or gets like a return of. In that last bit, there is some good ones like with the final season of Samurai Jack. A lot of people were hyped for that. since it wasn't going to be a new one, it was going to be a conclusion of a very popular show that I had never heard about. Yeah. And reboots can often lead to major heartbreak, especially for those die-hard fans out there. Like a few years ago, I once looked up that there was a plan to reboot one Cartoon Network's best shows, Ed, Edd and Eddy. I am not kidding with you. My heart stopped when I read that. But my heart rate was thankfully saved when I saw that it wasn't gonna happen. And I thank God because the plan was to make it educational to do a continuation of the series when it left off on a final point. Just the thing with reboots, there's also the biggest problem I'd have to say with that there's no originality anymore. People on like movie biz or cartoons, they don't have any more original ideas. All that was used back in the 70s and 60s and 80s and 90s. Yeah, I went out of word, I don't know why. Where all the creativity was used for TV shows like cartoons and movies where special effects were huge. Here it's like kind of standard, to be honest. Video games, they just evolved and there are some bad ones we can't avoid getting the perfect game every time. There are bad ones. And we gotta accept that what we can hope for is better of the other stuff or more original ideas. That's where things get very complicated, since a lot of original ideas come from other parts of the world. There's hardly any here, and I'm speaking from Colorado, and I'm constantly going to the theaters and seeing these new films. There's reboots, there's retries of the original, like, that Grinch movie. I did not like it, even when I heard about it, because I knew it was going to be like, eh. And even when I saw the trailer, I'm like, why'd they make him so much of a douche? Like, seriously, he's just necessarily mean for no reason. When the original ones, he was just mean, but in a sense that's like hilarious or fun, or like a kid-friendly scenario. There, he acted like a person you'd see in real life, a real jerk. But the biggest problem with that film was that that infamous scene that was in every incarnation from the book to the live-action film years ago, where he lifted the entire sleigh over his head? That has not happened here. They cut out one of the biggest things in Dr. Seuss books. For what reason? I have no clue. Animal love or whatever. Another thing is, there's a lot more reboots than you'd want. Look, let's just say I have a lot of love for TV shows and movies that I grew up watching. And seeing them so butchered or just run through the gutter is just heartbreaking to see, especially since this was my childhood. This is what I grew up with. This is what I loved doing. I loved watching these original shows, these original movies. Now, everyone's copying off of other people because no one can really think of an original idea. Everything's just based off something else or a comic book. Seriously, there's more comic book movies than you think about if you actually think about it. And I'm not just talking about DC or Marvel. Again, it gets annoying how many times you have to see in the movie lineup of, say, movies that are coming out or movies that have already been out in the past few years. You'd see more stuff that's based off other things than you have that's all original. Even then, is it even worth watching? I mean, some of the best TV shows, movies you can find are on Hulu or Netflix because no one really watches actual TV anymore. I mean, there are shows people watch, but frankly, they could, like some shows people still do watch on TV, could have ended years ago. Like, frankly, The Simpsons could easily have ended in the 31st season because, the Treehouse of Horror and the fact that they've gone on for over 3 decades can show that they have made their mark. I mean, even if they ended 5 years ago, they would have still been the longest running animated show of all time. And shows that, like, don't even try anymore, like Family Guy. I still watch it, but that's mainly just to see how far downhill the show has gone. Like, when the series first started, you see life lessons, some good old family comedy, and then some random gags and cutaways. Like, back then, they weren't even as frequent or as just boring. Seriously, Family Guy has just become so boring or straight to the point. Back then, they dance around a joke or scenario. Now they just blatantly say what we all don't like to hear. How we live our lives, how others do, and how boring life is to make us want to turn to a show that isn't so boring. I was gonna do people even watch the new episodes, or do they just stick with the reruns? I've watched more of the reruns than the newest episodes. And that says a lot, since I've watched reruns a lot. And seriously, it just got to me. And I know I got off topic for a second, but these are just examples for shows that could have been good, or why people would say turn to the reboots, because nothing's really original anymore. When people see TV shows or think about what's on TV, they think of what's they normally watch, and for most viewers, it's whatever on Fox or ABC. And that's usually Family Guy, Simpsons, or Modern Family, Blackish, Grownish, I don't know how that's going, and The Goldbergs. I gotta say, I am not at all excited for how the year or the future looks for cinema or television, because as far as I know, it's very bleak and just full of random stuff. Not random in the good way, I mean random as in you just know there's going to be more reboots in the future, like way more than there is now. There's just going to be other stuff you love and cherish when you saw them originally, like with any cartoon you loved being turned into an action drama. Seriously, got annoying. But yeah, that's my opinion and my take on, say, reboots and how they are affecting everyone. Since really, they just are hit and miss at this point. You either get a good one or you don't get one. Anyway, that's my opinion. I know I've been looking back and forth on this, but that's because I'm doing it on an iPad and I have very little experience using this. This is actually the second time I've actually tried using this camera in the entire time I've had this, and that's like 4 years worth of time. Anyway, hope you guys found it interesting, even if it wasn't about the video or about something else like my voice. It would not be the first time. But yeah, hope you guys at least saw it. Later.